Another operation that has gained significant popularity over the last few years is fat transfer to the buttock, better known as BBL or Brazilian butt lift. Technically, it is the removal of fat from certain areas of the body, the hips, the thighs, the abdomen, preparing it in a certain special way, and then applying it, injecting it into the buttock area. It can be done as an outpatient procedure, usually under general anesthesia, and is in itself a very significant and a very rewarding technique to augment the buttock area. So that's fat transfer to the buttock, or BBL. Fat transfer seemingly is a very exciting procedure. However, we've learned now over time that the first year or so, 20% or more of that fat is dissolved or resorbed. After about 2 to 3 years, there's actually less than half of that fat usually remains. Now, these numbers vary from study to study. There is no definitive scientific study that proves unequivocally what the final answer is, but generally speaking, I believe it is acceptable that less than half of that fat remains after about 2 years. That's why some of us are pretty skeptical about fat transfer as a long-term solution to an augmentation situation. Now, in the face, it seems to last a little bit longer. Garments play a very significant role in the post-operative recovery period. They apply an even amount of pressure to the operative site. They give support to the skin and the underlying tissue. In some instances, they also help to relieve the potential for seroma or fluid accumulation. So I am a proponent of post-operative garments for almost all the procedures that we perform, including BBL. Doing a fat transfer to the buttock at the same time as an abdominoplasty is somewhat, in my mind, controversial. Some surgeons will do them at the same time. I prefer not to. I believe that the recovery time and the recovery requirements are mutually exclusive. The abdomen requires flexion at the waist and sitting and laying in bed with pressure on the buttock area, which in and of itself will then help to dissipate that transferred fat to the buttock. So I prefer to do the abdominoplasty first, get that completely settled and healed, and then reconsider the fat transfer to the buttock for the so-called BBL. Depending upon what the primary goals are, you could do either one of those procedures first and then follow with the other, but in my opinion and in my experience, the abdominoplasty, in terms of return on investment and satisfaction and long-term benefit, is the operation to do first and get that completely healed. That, in my opinion, produces a much more beneficial result for the patient.